Here are a few slides regarding physical training for tennis, the concepts, the ideas that I collected through these years of trying to optimize physical training in the function of tennis for what I am currently doing at the moment and for what I see my tennis students doing at the moment in the Danish environment in which I am living. But let's just go through it quickly. Now, a functional approach, okay, when one hears functional training, sometimes, you know, if you search functional training on YouTube, you might come upon some weird videos of people like balancing on balls and doing funny things. Basically, functional means I am training in the function of something else. So I'm not training for the sake of it, I'm training for the sake of tennis. So it's in the function of being a better tennis player. Okay, and that's what functional training means. Self-explanatory, just try not to get injured. Okay, that's basic. Like, you know, if you're a physical trainer or a tennis coach and your student gets injured because of something you suggest to do, that's very bad. So don't get injured. Sport specificity. Okay. Yes, if you have to prioritize, if you have 3 hours a week and you want to be a better tennis player, go play tennis. Okay. So what I mean is, this whole thing about physical training is more for the people who get to play already a lot of tennis throughout the week, and then they have to supplement that training with physical training so that they do not get injured, so that they can optimize their performance as they play tennis. But in general, if you only have a very limited amount of hours a week to dedicate to tennis, you are gonna get faster, you're gonna get, you know, those up and down changes in the cardiorespiratory system, those intervals that are tennis specifics, you're gonna get them by playing tennis. Okay, so basically, the best training for tennis, you're gonna get the balance, you're gonna get the hand-eye coordination, all the good things you get in playing tennis. So now, let's say you're in the case, you are a competitive junior, a competitive senior, someone that gets to play 10 hours of tennis a week. Yes, then at that point, you should be doing, you know, 3 to 5 hours of physical training. I like that Spanish mentality, you know, like some Spanish coaches, they say, okay, I'm gonna do the same amount of fitness that I do on the court, or at least half of it, you know. So if I play 3 hours of tennis, I'm gonna do 1.5 hours of fitness. That's not a bad concept, but again, prioritize tennis if you want to be a better tennis player to start with. What is tennis? I like the definition of Mark Kovacs. That's another good guy to check out on online. He's very active, lots of channels, lots of research, ITIA certifications, all kinds of stuff. Mark Kovacs. They define tennis as a marathon of sprints, which is a good point. Okay, so it's a marathon because it's really long, but it's made of sprints. So you have to work on the explosive power, but you also have to work on the endurance, muscular endurance, endurance in form of conditioning, endurance in form of recovery, because if you get really good, then you get to play from Monday to Sunday, and you got to play back to back to back to back, and then it becomes important that you are able to recover as soon as the match is done, going into the next match. Okay, so that's what being a marathon of sprints means. Single leg sport, self-explanatory again. So rarely in tennis you are pushing off both legs at the same time. Rarely you're pushing off both arms. Actually, never you're pushing off both arms at the same pace, same balance, same effort. You're always in an unbalanced position, especially when you start playing against good players. Their job is gonna be to put you off balance. So you gotta train to be in a basically single leg position. Okay, of course you have both legs on the ground, but you're mostly pushing off one leg as you play tennis. So that's important to train that aspect. Okay, and that's why you will see in the video, in the playlist, that most of my strength exercises, except some upper body, they are single leg. Okay, because I am challenging my balance, I'm challenging my stability as I do my strength workouts. Yes, let's move on. 3 phases of physical training from the youngest kids. I am a big believer in, cross training as far as trying a multitude of different sports, doing all kinds of activities as the kids are young, as as they can develop a very wide set of skills that then they can transfer into tennis. Okay, so if they play soccer or football, then they're gonna transfer the foot to eye coordination, in a sense. They're gonna have strong footwork, they're gonna position well in relation to the ball. If they play basketball, again, footwork, stiff ankles, quick feet, the hand-eye coordination, it's all those skills. They are not wasted time. They are gonna transfer, and it's proof. It's has been shown through research and through just case studies, like Jannik Sinner, like Roger Federer, like Rafa Nadal. They all played multiple sports growing up, and then they specialized into tennis later on, which is around 9, 10, 12 years old. So it's not a thing that at 6 years old you gotta be boom, full focus and play tennis 8 times a week. That's a good pathway to burnout, but 1 in a million is gonna succeed. So that's never say never. 3 phases. That was the first train, cross-train to multiple sports. Second phase, train to withstand and recover from practice. I like to call it build an armor, and that it doesn't stop. It never stops. Okay, so as you play tennis, if you play 10 hours of tennis, to not get injured through the process and to withstand the pressure of training and competition, you gotta build an armor, and you gotta build muscular endurance and muscular stability through strength training, and also through the daily routines as far as mobility, stretching, and stability exercises that are gonna allow you to play as much as you want without cracking up every 3 months. Okay, so that's key. And then once that is taken care of, then we can start thinking about, okay, how am I going to train to not only allow myself to play consistently, how am I going to train to improve my performance? And then we go into the med ball, medicine ball, jumping exercises, plyometrics, whatever you want to call it, some, sprinting, all those kind of exercises that stress the body at a different level, that allow you to speed up the movement. Okay, so 3 different phases for 3 different situations. Tennis, baseball, hockey, we are rotating almost in every shot, basically every single shot except maybe the volleys, in which you try not to rotate too much. There is a separation of the hips and the shoulders. Therefore, it's important to really get the core of the body strong, as that is the center. The transfer, okay, as I write over here, is it allows us to transfer power from the ground through the body to the contact, and that's key. I like the 3 areas of core strength that Mike Boyle talks about, as far as anti-frontal flexion, which allows us not to bend in this direction, anti-lateral flexion, which allows us not to bend in this direction, but instead we stay straight, and then the anti-rotation, which basically you will see that in the compass plank or in the clock plank, whatever you want to call it later. It allows me to, as I lift one hand, not to rotate the core. Okay, so I'm trying not to rotate as I am in an unstable position, if that makes sense. But it makes more sense as you see the exercise. How do we train that? Again, in the videos you will see some isometric contraction exercises like the planks, and some more dynamic exercises like the medicine ball rotations, even during the warm-up. Okay, some rotations with the resistance band, the cable exercises, lots of things that are centered toward core training. Okay, at least to me and to many other. Of course, the legs are important, but I really like to focus on the core strength, because also that prevents a lot of the back pain, shoulder pain, hip pain. If we get this part strong, it's gonna really prevent a lot of issues that we're gonna get later on. So hopefully we are not gonna get them later on, because we have a strong core. Now, programming. Briefly explaining my situation currently, and again the situation that I see my students working in is that we have basically full weeks to prepare and train, and then if there are tournaments, and unfortunately there are not so many, there are some tournaments in the, in the Danish tennis environment, and it's not bad, okay, but it's not as consistent and as continuous as, for example, in Italy, where I grew up. Basically, you could be playing tournaments literally every single week, except 2 months during the winter. So if I want to, I could play tennis throughout the week. Instead, in Denmark, where I am now, and what I am focusing on is, okay, I have the week to train and do physical training, and then in the weekend either there is a tournament or there is a league match competition. And I guess at least for that environment, also I see that the same in Germany. Okay, in Germany the tournaments, if there is a big tournament, it goes from Thursday to Sunday, but most tournaments they go Friday to Sunday, and then there are league matches that are only one day. So the way that I'm training, I am building my week to peak on Saturday or to peak on Sunday. So what I am doing, I am prioritizing strength and endurance at the start of the week, and then as the week progresses and I get close to competition, then I'm gonna focus on speed and power development, which I talk about over here. Okay. The best workout is the one you'll actually do. That's I don't remember where I heard that phrase, but it's a good point to think about it. So you can have the best program in the world, but if you're never gonna do it, it's not gonna help you. So it's important that you like your training plan so that you're actually gonna do it. Okay? If you do not know where to start, at least you can check the daily routines later. You can start by doing the warm-up before playing, before training, and then some morning stretches, some evening stretches, some planks, some basic stuff, and that will get you going. Okay, build some momentum so that you can develop and get better for the whole training period of the week. As you will see in the videos, I do like full body workouts, so I'm not doing bodybuilders splits in which I'm focusing only on chest and legs or chest and back. No, I do not do that stuff. Again, because I am training to be a better tennis player and not to go to the beach, even though it's nice to be in good shape. But my goal is to perform better. And yes, something is better than nothing goes together with, actually do stuff. As far as weekly programming, this is what, for example, I took this from Mark Kovac's website. Okay, this is a pro yearly schedule as far as physical training. This is how they plan the loading. Okay, loading, deloading, competition. When I look at it, I just get anxiety, and I don't like that. I mean, I liked it. It's great if you are a pro and you have a team behind you that can make you follow this kind of stuff. I mean, I don't have a team behind me, and it's like, unfortunately, I'm following 10 different players at the same time, so I cannot make this for every single player. So, what I like to do is to, again, make a sort of schedule throughout the week, as I explained before, and every third week change the loads and change the type of exercises so that I do not overload on certain muscles and I do not get bored also. So, just explaining briefly, and then I go over it again during the videos. Week 1 to 3, in the first 3 weeks, I'm going to focus on more muscular endurance, so I'm going to have lower weight and I'm going to do a higher amount of reps, okay, in all the strength exercises. And then week 4, 5, and 6, so the following 3 weeks, I'm going to reduce the amount of reps and I'm going to increase the amount of weight, or if I keep the weight the same, I'm going to do the exercises faster so that I focus more on power development rather than muscular endurance. So I like to switch things around in that way so that I can, eventually progress, and then the following, as I start the cycle again, on week number 7, in this case, which is the new number 1, I'm going to raise the bar a little bit and then increase the weight so that I can see a progression. But again, not so much. Like I'm trying to maintain at this moment, but if you are into progressing and trying to, you know, improve your best record or whatever, that could be an idea. Okay, but that's just my 2 cents as far as programming for, how I like to call it, the real world, and not the pro world. That's the world we live in. Yes? Did I skip? No, I didn't skip. Good. Daily routines. I attach this document in the description, so you can find the link, you can find the slides, and then you can click on the videos, which are also in the playlist, and then you can see me embarrassing myself doing the morning stretchings, the total warm-up, and the evening stretching. So that's fun if you want to have a good laugh. Same with all the current, and that's why I specify current, because it could be that in 2 months I read a new book about physical training, I change my mind a little bit on, you know, my cable stable X workout, and then I start doing something new. So I might modify this document. Okay, that's what I'm doing now. I explain everything in the videos. Again, strength workouts, I like to do all 4 parts, so push, pull, knee dominant, and hip dominant, knee dominant, so it's a squat exercise, hip dominant, hinge exercise. And I do in different ways on both strength days, cable stable, rotational stuff, plus run. Okay, so I try to run twice a week, possibly. Doesn't need to be exactly on the same day. Okay, maybe I just have a free morning over here and then I go running. You know, I could do better as far as conditioning, but for what I need now, which is be ready max 2 days in a row, 3 days in a row, it's okay. Like, I'm usually not losing matches because I'm not fit. If I started losing matches because I wasn't fit, because I was running out of gas, then I would start focusing more on this. And that's why it's also important to understand yourself and, you know, eventually ask, okay, what do I need? What do I experience during matches? And figure out, because if you are really strong, but in the second set you are always out of gas, then maybe you should, you know, do less strength and more cardio. So, you know, it's a flexible thing. This is what I am doing right now, and as I say in every single video, it doesn't mean you gotta do the same. Okay, you can take inspiration from this, you can copy some of this, and then do your own. It's always more fun to do something that you made for yourself rather than take a program from whatever, whomever, and do it. Okay? Yes, I like to do rope twice a week, and then I explain it during the videos to keep the stiff ankles and to keep the, you know, it's also good for conditioning and muscular endurance. But yes, that was it. I hope it makes sense. Let me know if you have questions. You will find the link in the description. That sounds very YouTubey. But anyway, so you found the link to the slides in the description. You can go and you can check all the links and everything. And yes, great. I hope it helps. Don't forget to like and... No, I'm just joking. Bye.